man, I can't believe I got this thing stuck. Had to call John. Man, I need a winch.
No worries, Brian. We're gonna make this so this never happens to you. Today on Tech Garage, we're gonna install a Warn winch and we're gonna beef up the electrical system to handle it. Brian, let's get you back to the garage. Welcome to Tech Garage presented by Advance Auto Parts. Well, we got our Jeep cleaned up and made short work of getting it into the shop. But you know, we're gonna solve that problem so it never happens again. We're gonna install a Warn winch on the front of this Jeep. Now with those Warn winches also come amp draws. They draw a lot of electricity. So we're gonna go through the entire electrical system. We're even gonna upgrade this alternator to handle any way or shape you get this thing stuck in. And you also mentioned when you come over here, you hit a bump, that steering started shaking a little bit. They call that the death wobble. We have a dual steering stabilizer while we got it in here. We'll go ahead and install that. So Brian, you'll never have to call me again.
I can't believe I had to call him. You talk about wounded pride, I'm never going to hear the end of this. Now, anybody can install a winch, especially in today's winch technology and the hardware that comes with it, all of the engineering. It makes this extremely doable in your driveway. But you've got to get the installation right, not only so you're safe as this winch performs under extreme duress, but so that it's effective in getting you in or out of any kind of trouble you might be in. On the Jeep, we've got to remove the tow hooks. We're going to take off the access cover, and this isn't hard to get the front winch mounting plate installed. But a couple considerations you should make when you're installing any winch. Now, my dad taught me a long time ago to think about when you're installing a winch, do you want it at the front of the vehicle or at the back of the vehicle? Let's face it, if you're nose deep in mud or swampy ground, you may not want to pull the vehicle further through or further into that problem. Certainly with the right experience and the right hardware and the right tackle, you can regress with a front-mounted winch, but it's not always easy. On our project today, we're going to show you how our Warn winch can be used at the back of the vehicle or at the front of the vehicle. It's going to be permanently mounted up here, but with a few bolts you can back it off, put it in the cradle, and it'll actually install in the rear receiver. You're going to like how that works. Now on the Jeep, we just have basic access to get to here. Cover pops off. You're looking at the sway bar mounts. We're going to remove the front bolts only on the sway bar mounts. We certainly have to take off our tow hooks, and we're ready for the Warn winch mounting plate, which bolts right up, and we've got the foundation in place. I'm going to get started.
We got the good stuff. We got a Warn power plant 9.5. That's 9,500 pounds of line pull. And you got 125 feet of line to get the job done. So no matter what, you can pull out of any situation. And the really cool thing, it's got a multiple planetary gear set. Well, what does all that mean? That means massive gear reduction, 156 to 1. That's crazy. Think about it. It's nothing more than a starter motor. Our starter motor here has an armature and then it spins the pinion. Well, our starter motor here is just the armature spinning the actual gear reduction. And what it is, a planetary gear set. This is pretty cool. You can see the little pinions inside of here, and these pinions actually rotate this ring gear out here, and then I use the sun gear. That's why it's called a planetary gear set, to get the job done as far as gear reduction is concerned. Now I can actually show you. I painted on here some white lines. Starter motor, perhaps I turn it around. That's 1, 2, we're counting the armature, 3, 4, and almost 5 and a little bit more to get it back around. That's 5 to 1. Think about 156 to 1. In order to do that, they also draw a lot of amperage. Now we're going to wire ours directly to the truck, so what we're going to have to do is beef up the system. Warn recommends about 650 cold cranking amps. Our batteries here, you can look at your battery, has 640 on this one. We're going to have to get a little bigger battery, so we'll put an Optima in that one. The plates determine the cranking size, more to come with that. We're also going to beef up the alternator. Now our alternator here, this one's about 120 amps. Factory was 80 amps. So that's going to make the battery work a little bit easier to get the job done. Now Warn supplied us with everything. Brian mentioned earlier, you want to pull it out backwards? Well, they gave us a mount right here that can go into a rear receiver. Just bolt it on there. You got a remote so you don't have to stand in the mud. You can go ahead and pull it out that way. You got the hook, you got the winch, you got the actual compressor on there. So if you have any problems with air while you're out there, compressor will help you get the job done. But the first thing we need to do is we need to bolt our winch on here and then put it on the truck.
All right, John, I got the final bolt just about out. It's the sway bar mounting strap, front bolts only. They come out very easily. Let's go ahead and test fit that plate.
Yeah, that's always a good idea. Now this is a beefy plate right here. Now, very important that you look in the instructions. Warren gives you everything you need for this installation. But we had about 6 washers here, and we're trying to figure out why. Looked at the instructions, real simple. There's a little step back there, and you want to make sure for perfect fitment that you put them washers in so you don't have any kind of cattywomble winch.
Yeah, absolutely. You want all the integrity you can get on this plate. It's going to have a lot of stress and a lot of torque on it. So you don't want an air gap between the bottom of the mounting plate and the top of the frame rail. Put those washers in. There's 3 over here that are going to hold it. They go in very easily. This thing's easy to install.
It really is. This thing's all lined up. It's absolutely perfect. You know, now that it fits good, all we have to do is take it off, put it on the winch, and get the winch on the Jeep, and we'll do that as soon as we return with more Tech Garage.
When using a DVOM, how do you measure current flow in a circuit? A. Place the lead across the circuit. B. Place the leads in series with the circuit. C. Place one lead on the positive side and the other on the negative. Or D. Place the lead across the component with the power disconnected. The correct answer is B. Always place the leads in series with the circuit, or use an inductive amp probe when measuring amperage in a circuit.